Super.
All right, I have two final questions, then we're going to give you a chance to give out the number, the web address, Facebook page, and all that related electronic and snail mail information. One is, where do you see this coalition going between now and election time here on a congressional and a Senate race level?
Well, I think what I can promise you is this. We are going to communicate very aggressively across Kentucky on this topic. We're going to be, as I said earlier, we're in the process of collecting these questionnaires from people. We are in the process of researching their public statements. We are in the process of looking at their vote histories if they have them. Not everybody has it. Some do. And so we're going to be compiling this research and making it available to the public, and we are going to be putting it out far and wide about where people stand on this and why we continue to think it's a terrible idea. You know, what I have found out there is that a lot of people seem to know about the card check part, about taking away the secret ballot. That gets a lot of attention. But, you know, this part of the law, the forced binding arbitration, where the government can essentially send a bureaucrat down to dictate to a company, here's how you're going to operate for the next 2 years, period, no questions asked. You have no recourse. A lot of folks don't know about that provision, forced binding arbitration. And so, you know, every time I reach somebody and get them educated on it, they immediately say, what can I do? And so it tells me that we got a lot of work to do to get the public educated, not just about card check and the removal of the secret ballot, but also about the forced binding arbitration. So, you know, frankly, we'll be hitting the road. We're making a lot of appearances in front of different civic organizations and chambers and other groups that want to hear the message. And we will not relent. We are going to be very aggressive with our public outreach, and we're going to keep it up for as long as we can.
I got obviously the union bosses don't like this. So how are you working with the rank and file? How has your approach been with the rank and file of the unions? Obviously, like I said, they're very reluctant to give up their vote. You know.
Yeah. Well, we have had some rank and file union members sign the petition, I believe. You know, interestingly, in the 3rd Congressional District in Louisville, Kentucky, the incumbent, Congressman Yarmouth, has previously voted for card check, the EFCA law, in Congress.
Of course he
but
did.
his opponent, Lally, has sent the questionnaire back in. I'll give you a quick preview. His opponent, Lally, sent the questionnaire back in, and he is a member of a union himself, and yet he opposes this law, which is really noteworthy. And there's an independent running in that race as well, Hansen, who has sent the questionnaire in, and he also opposes it. So that's a little preview of some of the questionnaires we've gotten back. But, you know, there's a union member running for office in this state who says, I oppose this law. And, in fact, I think I saw him Lally quoted in a website somewhere when he got asked this question. He said he cherished his right to a secret ballot.
So Todd Lally came out strongly for your questionnaire that, you know, he's, as like you said, as a union member, he was deeply opposed to the card check and everything, any form of it, right?
That's correct. And I can also reiterate what I said earlier about national samples. You know, we've seen surveys of union members across the country, and they overwhelmingly oppose the idea of taking away the secret ballot.
Very
un-American. So we're an organization that's pro-worker. We're pro-employer, and we're pro-employee. We're pro-worker. We believe workers should be protected from these kinds of coercive tactics. And so, you know, we're looking to get support from anybody who agrees with us on this topic. And what we find is, whether you're in a union or not, most people are where we are on this matter.
All right. My final question is, I don't know about David, but my final question is, jobs in Kentucky and infrastructure in Kentucky related to this bill. If say, for example, you have Rands elected and McConnell, of course, will stay until 2014, you have all Republicans except maybe for Chandler in the 6th District. Are you going to see a situation where all Kentucky congressmen and senators are opposed to this legislation, or is it going to be? I guess I'm trying to get a sense of not the questionnaire, but publicly, where those candidates are?
Well, that's a great question, and it would require me to project into the future, and so I don't want to try to put any sort of projection onto the good people of Kentucky and the choices they may make. I can tell you this: our desire is that everybody in federal office, Democrat or Republican or independent, comes to the conclusion that the Employee Free Choice Act is bad public policy, that it's job-killing legislation, and that they are against it. And as I said earlier, there are people in both parties around the country in Washington right now who have voted against this, who have said they are against it, and who have fought against it. And
are they mostly in right-to-work, the Democrats, are they mostly in right-to-work states, or are they in states where unions are pretty strong?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to look at the individual Democrats who've opposed it, and I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know the answer to it right off the top of my head, but I know that you've had Democrats really across the country who have said, and actually have a demonstrable voting record of opposing it. It's easy to find on the website or on various websites. When the vote was taken in the U.S. House back in 2007, everybody got put on the record on this thing, so you can look and see where people stand on it. But yeah, I mean, what we know is this: the opposition to it is bipartisan and it's national, and we hope that everybody in any party or any independent who's not in a party that finds himself seeking to lead others comes to the conclusion that this is bad law, bad policy, it's bad for the economy, and therefore they oppose it.
Okay.
Dave, any final comments or questions?
This sounds real good. Sounds real strong.
All right,
go ahead. In this Commonwealth needs all the help it can get.
Well, we know this. We know that whatever economic recovery is occurring would be depressed by this law. We know Kentucky needs jobs. We know that we want to not just create new jobs, but retain the jobs that we've been fortunate to keep. And so we know this law, if passed, would force some people out of business. It would make it really hard for people to stay in business in some cases. It would make it really hard for them to create jobs, certainly, and it would very much stifle the recovery. So I appreciate the chance to be on tonight.
Well, I have one. How many of these jobs would go to India or someplace, or Mexico, lickety split? I mean,
that's a great question, but there's no way to know. I mean, especially on the topic of forced binding arbitration, the government, when they come in and say, okay, you all can't come to an agreement as workers and management on your labor contract, so we're going to tell you how it's going to be. If the company cannot comply with that contract imposed by the government, they really only have two options. They can close, or they can move overseas. Because moving to another state doesn't help. This is a national federal law, so just going to another state doesn't help you.
So it's just a job killer no matter what. It's a job killer.
Exactly. It's a job killer no matter which road you go down. Closing and saying, okay, I'm done with this, or fine, I'll move overseas. Either way, Americans will no longer have those jobs. And that's why we think it's anti-worker, because it is effectively taking jobs away from American workers in one form or another. So we're very worried about that, and it's a great point to make to close up with tonight.
Exactly.
All right, I want to go ahead and give you a chance to put the phone number in there, promote the website, Facebook page. Now's your time for some shameless self-promotion of your
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. The best way to get in touch with us is to go to the website, protectkentuckyjobs.com. That's spelling out all three words, protectkentuckyjobs.com. Sign the petition, get engaged in this public education campaign. If you're on Facebook, you can go to a search and type in Coalition to Protect Kentucky Jobs. We frequently post articles there and other information about this debate going on in Kentucky and nationally. I think you'll find it helpful as you move along if you want to get engaged in this and getting the latest information. ProtectKentuckyJobs.com. We're the Coalition to Protect Kentucky Jobs, and we really appreciate the chance to be on your show tonight and to talk to your listeners. It's an important issue, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you about it, because certainly we'll be having a lot more to say in the months ahead.
Well, thanks so much, Scott.
Okay, guys. Appreciate being on. Call me anytime, and thanks for what you all do. Take care.
Take care.